Howdy folks, Wonder Montage Survival here. Little different than the usual Zomboid footage. I have some Roller Coaster Tycoon footage that I want to put online. I'm a little behind in terms of the voiceovers on stuff right now, and I'm very behind in terms of rendering my actual footage right now, but I'm going to see what I can do about kind of getting a lot of this batched all out in like one night or something like that. Yeah, so this is Roller Coaster Tycoon. This is the Open Roller Coaster Tycoon 2 patch. I had a couple of small issues while getting this footage together. I didn't realize that the Open like RCT2 patch uses a different format for rendering graphics that OBS is not comfortable working with, and so I kept kind of starting recording and with game capture and being like, why can this not record? I'm just getting this black screen, yada yada yada, and spent an hour troubleshooting, and then finally looked it up online and just found out that it uses different drivers than most other games. So had to use window capture on this. I'm a little disappointed I couldn't figure out how to record audio for the little bit of the like ride, like the coaster footage at the very end. There was just a giant Waffle House truck that drove by my house. I'm so sorry, that was so cool. ADHD moment. So going into this park, I kind of have wanted to do like a fairly like modern feeling park. Like I want all the rides to kind of feel like they were assembled after 1980. And I wanted to have something that really emphasizes like foliage and flora, some sort of like a botanical garden slash like amusement park kind of deal, and yeah. So this will just kind of be that project. This sounds silly, but I thought that the turnaround at the end of this roller coaster looked a little bit too much. Made it look too much like it was just a big like cock and balls like kind of setup. So I decided I wanted to. Also, given the limited space that I had at the after the station, I wanted to kind of change a little bit of the beginning of the ride. There's a couple of other like realism things in this ride that aren't quite right. I don't have a brake section in the middle, but it's only running 2 roller coasters, so I think it's generally like pretty okay. Like so long as you're just having the 2 trains running on it, then it isn't gonna. There's not too much of a safety risk. Whereas if we were running like a 3-train operation on this, it would be pretty scary, I think. And so here, I'm trying to just kind of negotiate this turnaround a little bit better. This is so it's like a single out and back style coaster. I haven't really decided on a name yet for it. I kind of feel like I do have it right now being called Whitetail Bob. In like the 20s, what's his name? John Miller designed a lot of these like wooden like dipper style coasters, he called a lot of them just the bobs. Um, and yeah, here in the state of Georgia, there's a bird called the bob white quail, which is maintained. They really like habitats that see frequent burns to them. Um, it's actually a lot of the stuff here in Georgia that's been kind of killed off and suppressed over the last like 200 years. Um, Enjoys environments that see frequent burns to them, and I was just like, well, if we're doing like a botanical kind of coaster, like it's a fitting name for a ride like that. So I kind of pull off of, I believe it's like Voyage and from Holiday World, and just a couple of other of the again like these kind of dipper style coasters. And this isn't the best one that I've ever built, but I think in terms of what I am looking to sort of achieve with this coaster, which is that like as you're walking in through the like entrance area, you'll have the coaster like going overhead, and I think that that's like very cool. Um, yeah, just as you're walking into the area, you get to see the coaster before you even buy your ticket. You like get to watch the coaster like get launched over the area. Um, at this point, we're just kind of testing the coaster and making sure like I'm kind of feeling out color schemes. I'm not too sold on anything in particular right now. I like using that dark watercolor as like a paint color for these coasters because was it Blue Streak at Cedar Point has that just really distinct blue color to it. And, I really like it. So um, for now, I might use it as this accent color. I'm not married to anything in terms of this ride. Um, I think it looks really cool. I think like the again, it's just a single out and back. It's not supposed to be anything that's like too fancy. I kind of imagine it would have been built in like the 80s. Like this park at first would have like opened, and maybe they were like a kiddie park, or it was like originally going to be a botanical garden, and then they're like, well, like maybe we want a roller coaster, and then going into like the late 80s and the 90s, they're like, actually, we just want a lot of roller coasters. So yeah, I'm just gonna end up doing a lot of these like style of coasters. I probably need to come back in even and set up the metal bottoms to a lot of these. By probably, I mean I will. That's what I'm looking for. To like these structures, because it's just a nice detail. The other thing we're also going to work on this episode is the gate. I wanted to get this coaster built just for like to have a frame of reference in terms of the size of like where some things were going to be located to begin with, and then I will once I got the roller coaster set up, I was going to build the front entrance gate. And like I keep saying, I'm not like totally married to what we end up with, but I think it like looks pretty good. Not like incredible at beautification in this game. I'm generally like use as little modded or like custom content as I can kind of person, and this game is one where I'm like minimal custom content. I use some cheats, more just for like look, and to sort of achieve like the effects that I'm looking for, but I'm some other guys, Brian and Drozalik, being one, that Duraclink, another one, are definitely much better at that kind of thing than I am. But um, I really like building roller coasters. And then I'll do, like I'm saying, I get kind of ADHD when it comes to actually building things, and you'll kind of see me jump around between working on this like front entrance, which I kind of want to be in this like style of a lot of these like modern botanical gardens that have these like large buildings at the start that aren't necessarily greenhouses, but they kind of feel like these greenhouse-inspired buildings. Usually will showcase like fairly, depending on the time frame of the garden, it will either be like some sort of art from like the history of a location or some sort of modern art. I haven't really figured out something that I want to put in over here, especially because I leave the roof kind of low on this, which is a little bit of an issue because when I also set up the station for Bob White, it they're both like relatively at the same height. So I mean the fact that they're not like directly next to each other means that you can't really notice, but it's like one of the things about like scaling in simulation games is being aware of like how tall things are like in your immediate area, and or like how wide as well. Like if you ever played City Skylines, you kind of know like, okay, like this is my central business district, and this is my like my industrial area, and like your central business district kind of ends up being this very like tall area like downtown that really marks like where your downtown is, and then your industrial areas end up being fairly wide with a lot of like short buildings, and it seems a little goofy that these two buildings are roughly the same size, but relative to where they are, I think that they like scale pretty nicely. Taking a sip of beverage. And I think the thing that I don't like about this building is just like the shape of it. I feel like it kind of needs another wing or like another annex on it. So I'll probably end up as an attraction a little further down the line, end up putting like a greenhouse off kind of on the side where the roller coaster turnaround happens, just to kind of help give it a little bit more shape and kind of help shape this area a little bit better. But I think like in general, it does exactly what I want it to do, and sometimes it's just kind of all you have to like be okay with, like in the moment, especially just while you're I don't know, like thinking over what a park like kind of looks like. So I think like this spot over here on the coaster station side is probably going to have some food on the inside of it, and some seating, and then we'll probably have we'll have a little gift shop and a large greenhouse over on the turnaround side. And anyone who's ever done like pixel art or has built any sort of station in this game kind of knows it's a long and tedious process, but I think the results are really cool given the like limited perspective of the game, and uh, I mean you'll immediately start having guests come through and just be like, the scenery here is wonderful, and you're like, I have a giant patch of dirt that you guys are walking around in. What are you talking about? I'm also kind of trying to figure out what I would like to do in terms of little accents on the sides of this building, just to kind of break up the monotony of the white. Even with all of the windows, it just looks a little monotonous, I guess is kind of one word, and not particularly organic. It kind of looks like a big square that was just like dropped over here. I'm not too certain how, especially just given the limited range of motion in the base game. Like you're having to build something that feels realistic, but you're stuck within this 90-degree grid. But yeah, it's neither here nor there. It's just kind of the condition of the game. I also don't really know how I'm going to do the interior because we have all of these windows, but right now I think there's like a bunch of gravel on the inside, and that's kind of it. I might just put some more like abstract, like glass statues on the inside or something. But like overall, this building really helps like define this this space really well, and it hides the little front entrance gate in a way that I like. And now that that's done, we're just gonna put down a lot of trees, and we're just gonna really surround this building, or this roller coaster, with trees, because I think that if I'm going for this kind of botanical garden feeling, like I just want to have the place feel very deliberately manicured. The dirt and grass is very good for that, because it kind of allows. Well, like if you look at a tree, like anywhere, like they never are coming out of grass, like directly. They will usually have dirt surrounding them, or some sort of dirt and grass combo. And getting to hide that is kind of critical, I feel like. We're also going to put a bunch of gravel underneath most of this roller coaster, just so that there are no plants that are growing in that area. It both like looks more realistic, and so that you don't have, your guests showing up at 9 a.m. and then a guy with like a weed whacker, like just spewing grass everywhere into the air, like immediately by the roller coaster. Instead, they keep it a little further away from that kind of thing. So now we're just going to start using trees. I think the easiest way to set up foliage in any video game when you're doing this kind of beautification is to begin with the tallest trees and then work your way down into smaller and smaller trees. Normally, the way that trees kind of grow is, or like flora, is they're reaching up for the sunlight, and like things that are already established in the environment are going to be the ones that dominate the area, and then based on the amount of sunlight that makes its way through your canopy is going to dictate like what is growing underneath it. So like, I mean, just go for a walk somewhere, and you'll like notice if a tree has fallen. Like usually there will be uh, things that kind of continue that have already been established in that area that are going to be reaching up, and then you'll have like maybe some saplings in the area that are going to begin to sort of, the word's not compete. Um, we like that word in America, but it's like not adequate to describe it. Like they will kind of opportunistically move their way up as they see that there is an area where they can move in Georgia, the longleaf pine for a very long time was sort of one of the dominant features of our like climate. It's a like mid-level canopy style tree that actually gives way to these very interesting like grassland savannas, and they take a long time to establish themselves, but then they also will, once they have established themselves, they'll what am I trying to say? They kind of prevent other trees from growing in the area, but they give way to lots of other flora and fauna, like lots of plants and animals that are very distinct to like their sort of like these woodland savannas. Unfortunately, like Georgia has been, what's what I'm looking for? Like brutalized is pretty close. But a lot of the like natural resources of the state, the state's been deforested about 5 times since the American Revolution, and the longleaf pine in particular is like noteworthy because they grow to be about 150 or 200 feet tall, and so they were used for making the masts of ships, and early on in the like 1800s when America was a large like slave economy, we were also a very large shipbuilding economy, and so what had once been about 1 million acres of longleaf pine has been reduced to about 4,000 acres, I think, kind of just down in the southern part of the state. Nowadays, though, like we have an insane amount of greenery here in Georgia, and it's sort of just a result of the removal of the longleaf pine and allowing for more of a coastal like region to take over. And it's probably only going to continue as global climate change kind of continues to be an issue. But yeah, so that's a long-winded rant to say when you're building trees in these sorts of video games, like you want to start tall and then work your way down into the areas. Build your tall plants first, and then all the rest of the space you can fill in with shorter trees or little bushes or shrubs or what have you. And so with this station, I kind of wanted it to look like it had formerly been either some sort of exhibit room or like a very large shed that had been on the property that was repurposed for the purpose of being this like train station, or this station platform, the station building. I decided on using the dark water color for the steel. I don't remember what theme park it is in Japan, but there's one theme park in Japan that has these like green metal roofs, and I just thought it was very distinct and very pretty looking. Um, so decided on that, and that'll probably be one of the consistent colors that I end up using across a lot of these rides, or a lot of these buildings. And so even though I said at the beginning that I wasn't like too happy with like this ride initially, I'm actually very happy with how I managed to inset it inside of this like wooded area. Um, Another thing that's like really funny about this game is that the trees are not like geographically consistent. They are pulled from like all over Europe and America. So like the cedars of Lebanon trees are like from a very specific part of like Turkey and West Asia. And the like Scots pines are from like a pretty distinct part of like Eastern Europe. So I don't really know where this park is supposed to be set. I kind of feel like it's supposed to be in America somewhere, but nah, that's how it looks. So that's that. Other things I wanted to talk about. I'm still figuring out how to record this game with OBS. Unfortunately, when we get to the roller coaster section of what's the word I'm looking for? Like the B reel at the end or whatever. I wasn't able to record audio from the game, so we won't be hearing the guests like their screams as they ride the ride. But again, like I love the way that this, even though the design is like pretty simple, I love the way that this roller coaster just like looks inside of the park. So I'm very happy with it in that sort of regard. I'm not too certain what I want to do next year. It's probably going to be, most parks open with like a log flume, so we'll probably do a log flume of some sort. We'll probably do a car ride of some sort that goes through like a garden section of some sort. When you're placing these bushes, it looks much more real if you place like large numbers of them all together. I'm even looking at spots where I didn't place them, and I'm like, wow, I could even fill in more and more of these. But yeah, I'd say all in all, I'm very happy with just like this ride as a feature in the park. I think it looks very cool, especially as like the coasters kind of like cross over each other at the middle. And so that's about it. Here's the ride. We're following this red train here. I probably need to do something about the queue line. It's definitely a little too long. Guests are definitely getting a little cranky about the length. I know I could put those televisions like in the queue line, and that kind of assuages them. There's that, or stick an entertainer in, and that also makes them happy. But here we are at the first drop. Whee! So there's the hill goes over the path coming in. You get the little double up on that. I love those. And again, it's a simple ride, but it's like not intended to be this like hyper complex coaster. It's just supposed to be a out and back. Me renaming it, having the idea for White Quail Bob. Anyways, I appreciate you watching. I hope you enjoyed. Yeah. Take care. Enjoy the rest of your day.